did it also bring any professional opportunities your way?
It did. I've said no to them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All of them. Now,
All of
is
them.
that because
Yeah.
that was just not something you wanted to pursue, I assume?
No, a lot of it I really did want to do, but it was about, we talked a little bit about how important it is to recognize as a professional, and also I'm a mom, I'm a wife,
Yes.
I run a house, what I don't want to do is be exhausted and drained. And I had to go through this process of really figuring out what was my priority in life, what was most important to me.
Right.
And I know that I want to get this platform up and running and record my teaching in the best way possible. I want to give it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do want to go on and write a book. And I can't do that if I am spreading my chi.
Got it.
And every time I'm asked to talk, that's for me, the way I work, it's months and months of research and writing and preparing. And that just takes away the focus. So even though I was offered some amazing opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
I had to say no. And that in itself was an incredibly both heartbreaking and liberating thing to do.
Yeah. So then let's talk about this, because one of the other things we previously had mentioned is setting boundaries, and in terms of our practice. And I think this applies definitely to women. I think maybe women have a little more trouble setting boundaries than men, but I think it's true for male practitioners as well, how to prioritize things. And what's interesting here is you were willing to prioritize something in the future that you want to achieve versus something in the now.
Yeah.
So how did you decide what you needed to prioritize?
I was raised by a mom who did talk to us about, she was always very good with me not towing the line with authority, which helped. But I think fundamentally, most of us women in our generation were raised with the idea that we have to put ourselves last. I was raised by a mom who didn't work, and I'm Jewish. I have a Jewish mom, and I'm a Jewish mom, and the whole way of being is like we look after everyone else. And I'm in a caring profession, and it's we've been brought up as women with the idea that we have to make everybody else happy.
Yes.
I had to do a lot of unpicking of that.
Okay.
A lot of unpicking of the way I was brought up and the way my thought patterns were kind of plugged into me, my neural pathways. And I did a lot of it with a really cool coach. In fact, two different coaches I've worked with over the course of the last year. And I've kind of gradually morphed from it being more of a person-centered coaching experience to a business-centered coaching experience as I've got clearer and clearer about what is important to me and how I do things. So that's learning about what it means to prioritize has also included me learning that the very first thing I have to do is block time out of my diary for myself.
Yes.
So if I don't schedule my time off, I don't get it. And no one else is going to do it for me.
Yeah.
And right. And that, even though I'm a mom, feel that I have learned that actually what I want to teach my child is that I have to be whole too in order to parent him best.
Oh, so, absolutely. And
my
how do you teach a child to be whole if they don't see a parent who's whole?
Right. So for me, taking that time off is also part of building in how to make that future happen. And it took quite a while to figure that out. But it was easier to say no once I realized that I couldn't spread myself thin. And I had to make some hard choices. And those choices included, what did I need to get to where I needed to go?
And where is it you want to go?
Well, I would like to get to the point, certainly in the UK, I would like to get to the point where I build up I hate to use the word brand because I'm trying to do something that isn't just for me, but for the outside, but for want of a better word, brand. I run a company called the Fertility Support Company, and the training arm is fertility support training. So I'd like to get to the point where the consumer knows when they see a fertility support training logo on a practitioner's website or work, they know they haven't just purchased that skill, that they've invested in it. The client comes into them and asks them a question like, what do you think of these test results? That practitioner knows how to answer that from a Western and a Chinese medicine point of view. So I kind of think, where do I want to go in the future? It's just an elevation of what we do in our own eyes and in the eyes of the public. And I got to keep working on myself to be able to do that too.
So in terms of two different things, one is from the business aspect, do you have a business plan of the steps you're going to take to get to where you want to go?
I do. I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
in fact, I've got a plan over the next 3 years. So
that is so good. I admire that because while I have lots of plans, I somehow have trouble putting them into writing quite often. And then my next question would be also then, what are the steps you've committed to taking for self-care?
So self-care's changed for me. Last year,
Uh-huh.
self-care was I had to have a massage every week.
Uh-huh.
For me, I kind of assigned in my mind that one patient a week I was doing in order to look after myself.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great idea.
This year, it appears that my self-care is lying on the couch watching Netflix and having the occasional ice-cold shot of vodka.
That sounds, you know what? I think rock on. Okay?
Thank you very much. What's your self-care? What do you do?
What do I do? Well, I find actually I do yoga. That's definitely one thing I do for self-care is I do yoga. I also have to have some time to myself. And I would agree that I would say my drink of choice, if I'm on the couch watching TV, is usually some bubbly wine.
No.
But I find that to be very relaxing. I also love to travel. I love to travel. I find that inspires me. It renews me. So making travel plans, having travel plans to look forward to, I find those are helpful. I think I still work on self-care and this is kind of lead, I think, to the next thing. I've heard you talk about money and our profession and women. And I think, again, while it's definitely something that may apply a little bit more to women and our attitudes, but I think it applies to our profession with money and then family attitudes. I still struggle sometimes with putting money into myself. For example, as you might see, I have some coffee here. Mm-hmm. And one of my pet peeves for a lifetime has been, I hate lukewarm coffee. And I actually will end up drinking more just because I have to make it hot. So look at this behind the scenes.
Yeah.
This is
fantastic.
Mr. Coffee hot plate. So that if I leave my drink on this, be it tea, be it coffee, it stays warm. I had that on my Amazon wish list for a year. It cost $9.99. And I used to look at it and think, well, really, you don't need that. Why would you spend $9? And then I thought, why not? Why not? And you know what? I use it every day and it gives me pleasure.
Pleasure, yes.
And so it's like these stupid little battles I have with myself. And then I'll say, and why didn't you purchase this a year ago? You didn't have $9.99.
Yeah.
So that's a small, but it's same thing. Like when I decide to go to a seminar or not go to a seminar, I struggle with that. I struggle with buying something that feels like it's purely for my pleasure, but then why not? So there you go. So that's kind of an example of where I struggle with it. Moving from that, we had discussed money.